Welcome back to Umoja and the Great Z. I'm Ejuenka, and I'm here with Chief Environmental Officer Lionel Michael. And before I go to him, I want to remind you that on the 26th and 27th, right? See why I can't get that date right, because I don't have my calendar with me. But I think is the 26th and 27th. Is that? Can you check that for me? The 26th and 27th. Saturday and Sunday.
25th and 26th.
Saturday and Sunday.
25th,
25th and 26th. Saturday and Sunday. Clean up again at the Elmore Stout High School. Heavy equipment is going to be there. Bring your shovels, bring your gloves, bring your hard hats, bring your shoes, your protective shoes, and come out and help again. Last Sunday was a blast. The guys did a fantastic job, got a great portion of the school cleaned up in preparation for restoration. And so this helps us to save that money on cleaning up, having the contractor take money out of the budget to clean up. We could do that. We make a big contribution to the restoration of Elmore Stout. So the next, not next Sunday, Sunday after the Saturday and Sunday after the 25th and the 26th at the Elmore Stout High School, come by, volunteer, and help to clean up. Brother Michael, welcome to Umoja. It's good to have you.
Thank you very much.
I don't know how many of us are thinking about the sanitation of the water supply. We caught some rainwater, and I drank the rainwater. We ain't boil it. Matter of fact, I started bottling it. I was thinking about bottling the rainwater coming right up from the sky, right into the bottle, and promoting it as fresh rainwater with unadulterated, all minerals, all vitamins in the water coming from God, right to your throat. I thought that was a great idea. No,
that if you put it directly in a bottle, that will be a particular challenge to put it directly in a bottle to sell in, and you have to catch it and then put it in the bottle.
I'll skip that step. We'll catch it in a pan, and we had a funnel, and we were pouring. We had a cup.
I get you.
Yeah, I'll skip that detail.
Yes. You have to be careful about doing that, because, first of all, good night to your listening audience, and I'm happy to be here.
Yes.
Water supply is very important. All of us know water is important to the human body. It's good for health. It's used in the home, in agriculture, in industry, in tourism. So water is very important for everyday life. But there's something called what disease can be transmitted through water. And therefore, we have to take the necessary steps, the necessary measures, the necessary precaution to ensure that we don't get any disease from water. Now, specifically speaking, with regard to water in catchment, like cisterns and tanks and drums and barriers, to get right to the point, in other parts of the Caribbean island, they call it good water.
Yes, that's a good water.
Yeah, because they say it come from the heavens.
That's what we say.
And it tastes good, but it's not good.
I don't know. You're getting in trouble now.
It's not good until it is made safe.
Okay.
Right? The reason why it tastes good is because it has a lot of what we call oxygen in it. Mm-hmm. It is oxygenated. Whereas the water that comes through the pipes has gone through several steps in treatment, and therefore a lot of oxygen not in it, as in the rainwater. The rainwater ladders easily, like you take a shower. The soap doesn't go off easily. You have to take out the water to get out the soap, as opposed to the water that comes to your tap, a little harder, and it takes a little longer to ladder, and so on. So the rainwater is softer, and everybody likes it. It falls on the roof and into the cistern, or the tank, or the drums. But, as I said, before you use it in your home for personal uses, brushing the teeth, washing the hands in particular, drinking, most important, if you do that, you have to make the water safe.
Okay.
All right, and that is the crux of the matter here.
Before we talk about how to make the water safe, what can be transmitted to us by not
I'll come to
making
that.
the water
That's a
safe?
good. That's a good. There's something called waterborne diseases, and we're going to break them down into 4 broad sections or categories. First of all, you have the classical, as we well know, waterborne diseases. That is to say, people drink contaminated water or they ingest contaminated water, and that contaminated water has microorganisms in it, germs in it, bacteria, viruses, parasites, as we commonly call germs, and they can affect human beings and cause disease. So that is the classical waterborne disease. Example of that is like typhoid fever. Back in the day, typhoid fever ravaged a lot of Caribbean countries. Most recent, something called cholera is a waterborne disease, and we have that in Haiti after the earthquake. The water can get highly contaminated. Generally, after a storm, after a disaster, when water system become disrupted, you can have the threat of these diseases. So therefore, it's important to take precaution to prevent those typhoid and cholera and so on. The other type of disease is what we call water wash diseases from contaminated water. And what that means that you get things like diarrhea. You can get diarrhea, you can get eyes and skin disease, scabies, because in the water you may not have sufficient water for proper and effective personal hygiene, and therefore, because you don't have sufficient water for personal hygiene, sufficient water to take care of personal things and so on, you don't get to clean your body and take care of yourself the way you should in normal circumstances, and so scabies and so on can develop, and itching,
skin disease,
rashes on the skin and things like that. You can also get a disease of the eye. You can get conjunctivitis. You should use contaminated water to wash face and clean yourself. And another disease called a diarrheal disease called shigellosis. A lot of diarrhea, a lot of abdominal cramps and pain and fever and so on. So you can get those type of diseases from insufficient water supply and contaminated water supply in a situation like this. And the other type of disease, what we call water-based disease, where you have flood waters underground, flood waters in streams, stagnant water in ponds, in streams, in drains, and people may walk in them, on the road and so on. We may walk barefoot in these waters, and you have parasites that may penetrate the feet and give you a disease. One such disease is what we call schistosomiasis. In my research and my knowledge of, I don't think we have schistosomiasis, and I haven't seen any schistosomiasis case in the BVI. That's one possible disease. Somebody were to come and have that disease and do get that. Another disease is what we call water-related diseases that stem primarily from insect vectors. We talk about the mosquitoes,
yes,
right? Particularly mosquitoes, Aedes aegypti, that transmit dengue fever, that depend on water supply. If you didn't have water, the mosquito would not breed. So homeowners are advised and strongly encouraged to protect their water containers, not only for drinking purposes and personal uses, but for prevent insects, like especially mosquitoes, from gaining access to the water supply and develop into the different stages. Because one thing about those mosquitoes, they can lay their eggs, and the egg can stay there for a year, and soon they get a little rain, they hatch and become viable. And so therefore you want to make sure you protect your water supply. In other parts of the world, you can get sleeping sickness and so on, from insect developing water and things like that. So those are the 4 broad categories of affected.
Well,
that can be affected.
That's amazing. First I'm hearing it. Yeah, I didn't realize that there are so many diseases that you can get that's transmitted through water.
And especially at this time where water supply is challenged. A lot of people are challenged to get access to water, and so insufficient quantities. and quality. Some areas, a lot of areas have water still, but some people depend on their cistern. And sometimes to get water from the cistern is a challenge. You have to get a hole, you have to have a bucket, the bucket has to be clean, and so on. And all these things you have to take into consideration.
So the lack of cleanliness in handling the water is one of the challenges.
One of the challenges.
Yeah,
yes, because if you use a contaminated bucket and dip it into the cistern or the tank or the drum, you contaminate it.
You can contaminate the whole system. The whole system full of water.
Exactly.
Oh.
But the system becomes contaminated, not by the water that falls on the roof and enter the cistern. And rats on the roof.
Okay. Rats and bats.
Rats and bats.
Yes.
I forget them. They're disgusting.
Okay. forget the bats. Don't forget the bats.
No, can't forget the bats. Rats and bats. And we have birds.
That's right.
Pigeons and other birds.
Trushy.
That are your quality?
We have a thrush. You got to eat all of my papaya.
Yeah.
So
that defecate on the roof.
Then defecate on the roof. And poison my water. Eat my papaya and then he defecate on the roof.
Yeah. And you live on the roof. You don't pay any rent at all. So you contaminate the water. Put feces and germs into the water supply.
Okay.
And therefore, you should not just use that water. A lot of people say they don't drink it. They use it to bathe. But they should not just use it for bathing without making it safe. Okay. Because we know that the water is contaminated. A lot of samples has been done, a lot have been collected in cistern water in the BVI and throughout the entire Caribbean. Okay. And cistern water, and found them to be highly contaminated.
So the rainwater itself falling from the sky into a clean pan is not necessarily contaminated.
If you can catch it directly into a big bowl, that'll be fine.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Right.
So we don't want to give the impression like water from rainwater is contaminated. But if it falls on something that is contaminated, then that gets contaminated.
Yes, but if we also remember we have pollution in the atmosphere too.
That's true.
And we have exhaust giving off and something called acid rain.
Yes.
Right. So when the water falls in that big bowl or bath that you may catch directly, as you pass through the atmosphere, it picks up the gases and
it gets contaminated in the atmosphere.
So
the pollution
contributes to that. But most importantly is when it falls on your roof.
Yes.
And then into the cistern. On the roof is contaminated with all kinds of droppings and materials from animals, from dust, from dirt, from leaves and so on, that wash down in the cistern and contaminates it, and make the water unsafe. When I say contaminate, I mean add germs to it.
Yes, that could affect your body in many ways and give you diseases and illness.
Cholera, can give you typhoid, shigellosis, this type of diseases.
Okay. Treating the water. How can we treat the water so that it's safe for us to drink in? And perhaps, I know in our potable water, we have it treated, so we know that that's safe to a certain degree. But as individuals in the home,
individual treatment home,
know that we need. So a lot of us don't have potable water. We haven't got restored yet. So we are catching rainwater for all uses.
All uses.
And so, how do we
make it safe?
Make it safe.
That's a very important question and a good question. There are a couple of ways, a couple of things you can do to ensure and make the water safe and protect your health, and family health, and the broader health of the community and broader health of the country as a whole. Because we don't want people to get diseases. We don't want the BVI to get any outbreak of any disease.
Yes.
Because that will be another disaster, and you're going to further set back the economy of the country. So therefore, we want to prevent. That's what the environmental health, the Ministry of Health in particular, in general, is all about. The Ministry of Health and Social Development is all about prevention, control, and protection of public health.
Yes.
And so, and that is the sanitation portion is carried out by the Environmental Health Division, staffed with some very good officers. But get back to your question specifically. One such method is, first of all, traditional method, boiler water. If it's for drinking alone, if you have to drink your system water,
boil it.
One method is boil it.
Any particular temperature? 2
to 3 minutes when the first bubble appear. That's very important. You can just put it on any day. You say the water on there for 5 minutes and then turn it off. When the first bubble appear, you have to bubble up.
So you gotta see it boiling.
Yeah, you have to see it boiling and allow 2 to 3 minutes for it to bubble up.
Give a good boil.
Right. Yeah. That's the temperature you asked about 212.
Okay.
Something get hotter.
Yeah.
Boiling will destroy germs and what we call microorganisms technically. That's one method. But boiling, you can't boil so much water as care for all uses in the home, because then it become expensive.
Yes.
And then become the risk of getting scalded and burning and so on.
Costs a lot for gas.
And people may shortcut. Yes. But if you're going to drink it, you're going to give children below 5. If you're going to give the elderly, if you're going to give people who are pregnant, if you're going to give people who have immune system that are compromised, you need to make sure you give them safe water at all times. So boiling is the effective method. Okay. Number 2, the use of chlorine compounds.
Okay.
In the home, we have what we call in the BVI, in all Caribbean homes, Clorox.
Okay.
Everybody have Clorox in the home, just like in the United States. Everybody have guns.
Everybody have Clorox. It's true.
We have Clorox.
It's true. I have Clorox.
So when you come, we have our Clorox. And we could use the Clorox to kill the germs.
Yes. Okay.
And so I want people to get scared out there.
So how?
And say Clorox going to we use clothes, so
kill
wash
you.
clothes,
Yeah.
and we want to drink in the water.
Yeah.
If you keep it clean, keep the water clean.
So we got to know how much Clorox to put in.
Yes.
Yes.
And so we the rule of thumb basically is to use the household bleach. That is the one with the blue label.
Okay.
Or any other bleach that is not scented. Because you have some scented ones and you have some floral ones.
Yes.
So you want to use the unscented one, the one that not
the
smells.
the original Clorox.
The original Clorox.
The original Clorox.
That's why we say the one with the blue label.
Yes, the original
And
Clorox.
the bleach.
Yes.
And look the one having the 5% or 2.5%. You look at it and you will apply it to the tank or the cistern. No, you can't just go down to the supermarket and buy 2 bottles of Clorox and empty them in the tank.
Okay.
Right? That's going to be a problem.
That will be a problem.
In terms of irritation to the skin and sensitive parts of the body. And
all kind of consequences.
Right. So you need all kind of consequences. I like that. So you have to be careful. Know how much you throw in the cistern. Very important. So the rule of thumb is, it is 4 to 8 drops of bleach.
4 to 8 drops of bleach.
To 1 gallon of water.
Okay. 4 to 8 drops.
No, people might be saying, no, what is a drop?
That's I was just in the action. You can get dropper.
Yeah, you get a dropper, baby dropper. You can get that, or you can use the handle of a spoon and put it in the bleach and make drop from the handle of the spoon.
Oh, okay.
Right, that's 2. Or we advising you to just use the small Clorox bottle, the cork for the cover itself.
Yeah.
For the cover itself.
Yeah.
Just throw some in it and throw it in there.
Okay. So we could use that as 1 drop or 2.
Yeah. 4 drops. 4 drops.
4
drops to a gallon.
Okay, 4 covers.
No, 1 cover. 1 cover equal 4 drops.
1 cover equal 4 drops.
Yes.
All right, that's cool. That's a good formula.
Use the cover.
So a small cover.
No, the cover for the bottle of the Clorox.
The cover for the bottle of the Clorox.
Yeah.
1 cover.
When you take off the cover, you throw some in it,
and you put it in. That's
4
4 drops.
That's equal about 4 drops. 48 drops.
48 drops for a gallon of water.
For a gallon of water.
Okay.
If you have one of those tanks in your yard, the overhead tank, the big black tank,
yeah,
those hold about 400 to 700 gallons to 1,000 gallons. You're putting tablespoon now.
Okay.
You're putting 4 tablespoons.
4 tablespoons
in the entire tank of water.
Okay.
Okay.
For the 400 gallons.
Yes. 4 tablespoons in the entire
Okay.
tank of water. No, we're not talking about the pot spoon. We're talking about tablespoon. So don't go and get a pot spoon and fill it 4 times and throw it in the tank.
A pot spoon is several tablespoons.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. Because you need to put the right amount of bleach or Clorox in the tank to the right amount of water. Now, if the tank is not full, you have to use your discretion.
Yes.
And apply the amount of bleach accordingly. Because the tank may be 1,000 gallons and it might be half. And this is 4 tablespoons full to 1,000 gallons and it's half, you put 2.
Yeah.
All right?
You gotta use the common sense.
Yes, if you put 3, but the rule of thumb is, the guideline that we're using is 4 to 8 drops of bleach to the gallon of water.
4 to 8 drops.
After putting the bleach in the water, you wait 30 minutes.
Okay. Before you do anything with it.
Yes. 30 minutes.
You put in the,
ladies and
you put in the
gentlemen.
bleach and you let it sit for half an hour. Yeah.
30 minutes.
Before you touch it.
Sit down and count till they reach 30 minutes.
You don't have to stir it around.
Oh, good. Yes, you can. Well, if a big tank, it may be difficult to stir it
Sorry,
around.
but if
if
a gallon in a
right,
house, you can stir it.
that's a very good question you asked. But 30 minutes is the minimum contact time
Okay.
for chlorine to kill germs in water.
It has concentrated bleach now.
Same difference. Yes,
Okay.
same difference.
All right. So
Right.
that's
Right.
4 drops
To a
a gallon.
Right.
4 drops a gallon.
We have to
All
go.
right. So
You wait 30 minutes.
and you wait 30
before-
minutes before you use it.
That's what these soldiers use when they go to fight war in the battlefields. You know, they walk with a bottle of water and they use the chlorine tablets and they throw in it.
Okay.
And then they wait half an hour and they drink it because you don't want to get disease while they're fighting wars and all these type of things.
Yeah.
All right, so you wait 30 minutes.
Okay.
Then you can use chlorine. There are different types of chlorine tablets. Some of them 8 ounce, some of them are 7 ounce, some of them are 12 ounces. Some of them pools you use and so on. There are different types of tablet. But when you go to buy them, you have to tell the people at the store how much water is in your tank or how big your tank is. So everybody should try to find out the length, the width, the depth of the tank.
Okay.
And
And you keep a track. You
and
keep.
once they
I
know
always
that,
have a figure in your mind.
yes, once
as
they
to how
have
much
that,
water you have in your
right.
tank.
If you said the tank, my tank holds 20,000 gallons of water, but you think about 15,000 in there.
Yeah, right.
You know, and so on. But
Yeah.
you know you hold this amount of water. If you don't know how much water in there, you can give them the length, give us the length, the width, and the depth, and we will calculate the volume of the tank.
So we could call you.
Yes.
And you could help us figure out how much water we have.
Yes.
No, that's not
Yes,
your
you could
job.
call the Environmental Health Division,
And that number is.
and
The number.
they can will assist you in
figuring out the
yes,
the
yes.
ratio.
Yes, a lady, quite a few people come to the office. We in the hospital, our hospital training room.
Okay.
'Cause
So we have a number.
Because the building.
You remember the number?
No, I remember right
The
now.
number. But we could call.
Yeah.
We could call the government
Yeah.
switchboard
Yeah.
468-3701.
Yes, and they will contact.
And they'll
Yes.
this is Environmental Health Division,
Division.
and they will help us figure out
Figure out
the ratio.
how much chlorine you join it and so on.
And so on.
Something like that. So chlorine tablets is one, bleach is the other. Boiling, so 3 methods I mentioned. And there's another method, but it requires electricity.
Okay.
We call it ultraviolet disinfection, or UV disinfection.
So you have to buy apparatus.
Yes, you buy the apparatus, you put it down this kitchen sink where the water comes in, and you treat the water by electrolysis and disinfect it. So that's 4 methods I mentioned. People are also buying filters.
Yes.
All right. We call them point of use treatment,
Okay.
technically speaking. For the most part, they do not remove microorganisms from the water. They remove sediments. They improve the color of the water. They remove dirt and dust and
But
grit
they
and
don't
grit.
they don't kill bacteria.
When for the most part, they don't.
Okay.
They're not designed for that. If you want to remove germs from your system, you have to ask them specifically for that. They may have to order a special one for you because they come with a different size as pour. Something like a strainer, when like ginger beer, you have to squeeze it through the strainer and so on.
Yeah.
Right. So it's
It's a
for the most part they don't remove microorganisms from water. They improve the color and they improve the
physical
characteristic of the water
yeah.
and chemicals and so on. So you can chlorinate the entire system or treat the entire system and then put a filter if you don't like chlorine,
Right.
and the filter will remove the chlorine as you come into the house.
Oh,
But the water would have been treated and safe water coming to your house.
Good information.
The thing about filters, you have to maintain them.
Yes, you have to change them frequently.
Because if you don't change them, they will recontaminate the water
Yes.
supply. Sometimes you see some filters out there, they look rusty and discolored and green and smell and so on.
Yes.
So all those filters we are buying and so on is good, but
You have to make sure you change them.
make sure you still treat the
The
water
water.
to kill germs.
We are
and other
under the
microbes.
tyranny of the clock.
Hmm?
We are under the tyranny of the clock.
Yes.
Yes.
Very important.
Yeah.
We wanted to give that information.
But that's a fantastic information.
Yes.
Thank you very much for coming. One last question. We have water all along the street, and we have water in around our homes.
On your homes.
Not necessarily that we are responsible for,
Yeah, stagnant water.
but stagnant water accumulating in a
because of the rain and puddles and
puddle
and so on.
and so on. They breed
Yes.
mosquito. And
Yes. Well,
what do we do with
we
those?
we have a vector control unit within the Environmental Health Division in the Ministry of Health and Social Development, and they go on a daily basis, carrying out control measures for mosquitoes. We have received a considerable amount of supplies for treating of mosquitoes. So that's the government response and the ministerial response.
What can we do as individuals?
As individual, that's a very
Possibly.
good question. Individual, first of all, is to, if you can drain the water so the water can flow. That'd be the best method.
Okay.
If you can fill it in with dirt, soil, stone, whatever, fill it in. If you can use some kind of treatment, oil on it. Around the home, preferably, I will stay away from the combustible oil. And the flammable oil, I will stay away from those things for a while around the home because the risk of fires.
Yes.
So I would recommend using cooking oil,
Okay.
olive oil.
Oh, coconut oil could.
Oh yes, yes, cooking oil,
could
olive
kill the
oil.
bacteria and
No, kill the
kill the
mosquito.
mosquitoes. Kill the mosquitoes. Yes.
Well, yes, kill them. But the principle of oil is to form a film on top of the water, so that when the mosquito comes up to breed, there's no oxygen, and the mosquito dies. So you want to use
Cooking oil.
cooking oil, olive oil, virgin oil, palm oil, those kind of oil. And if nothing else can be done, you may want to take all precaution and use
Some
kerosene
a little bit
oil,
of diesel or
diesel,
something.
dirty oil, and so on.
Yeah.
To get rid, because we don't want to. You want to
Mosquito
destroy
breeding.
mosquitoes, especially the Aedes aegypti mosquito,
Yeah.
that black and white mosquito that people see when a light on them. You want to make sure you destroy that to prevent dengue fever.
Yes.
And chikungunya
And all
these
those
type of diseases.
all the vector diseases.
All the vector diseases.
Yes.
So again, make water safe before you use it, especially from your system. For bathing, for brushing teeth, for cooking, and for any personal uses, ensure the water is treated either by boiling it, either by the use of wholesale bleach or Clorox, as we say, the right amount of bleach, the right amount of water.
4 drops per gallon.
4 drops per gallon.
Yes.
Your big tank outside. If you have a system now with 20,000 gallons, we have to advise you how much you put in
Yeah,
that.
and you can call
Right?
you
Yes.
can call 468-3701 and ask for the environmental
Yes.
health division,
Yes.
and they'll be glad to help you to
Absolutely.
calculate the amount of
Absolutely.
bleach to put in.
Put in it.
But Michael, it was a real pleasure.
Thank you.
Real pleasure. Yes, that was solid. That was solid information. Solid information.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you very much for listening to the Great Z and watching us on Facebook as you anchor Facebook Live. I want to thank my sponsors, CCT, BVI Life Unlimited, Medicare, a one-stop medical facility. Clarence Thomas Limited has the best products for the lowest prices, period. Ocean Conversion remains a locally owned continuous flow of water for more than 20 years. At Mellow Moose Cafe, they keep you in that Mellow Mood with that great vegetarian food from Mellow Moose Cafe. Don't forget on the 25th and the 26th, 25th and 26th, Saturday and Sunday. Not this Saturday and Sunday, next Saturday and Sunday. Well, what date it is? Come down. 25th and 26th, come down by the Elmosau High School and help 88 and alumni, the 1970 alumni and friends and good well-wishers. They help clean up the high school. With our Creator's divine indwelling spirit in control of our minds, we'll achieve unity within ourselves. Unity in ourselves will enable us to achieve unity with each other. Unity enables us to grow spiritually, socially, and economically, because unity is the key to our success. I'm Edgy Anchor. Love your brothers and your sisters as you would love yourself. Peace and blessings.
Give me a pen.